Hello viewers, you are welcome to Transformed Lives program coming your way from Church of Uganda Family Television program here in Kampala. Transformed Lives program brings you people who have experienced extraordinary transformation in their lives, which they share with the rest of the world. I was one of those who were transformed about 23 years ago. Before that, I had a skeptical mind about God, wavering between belief and unbelief as to whether God exists or not, and whether God is interested in my life, whether salvation is relevant to my life, and that went on for a very long time. But one day, on Tuesday, the 6th of July, 1999, at 6:43 p.m., alone in my office on Ginger Road, I experienced this transformation. And from that time, my life has never been the same again. But today is not my day. Today is the day for Elisha Mukisa. Elisha,
Yes,
you are most welcome to Transform Lives program.
thank you, sir, for
And
hosting me.
we are very delighted to see you, and I'm sure many people out there in the audience are all eager to listen to you, what happened to you. I invite you to share with us your life story, where you come from, where you went to school, about your family, and later on, you'll be able to share with us what happened to you that moment, that week, maybe that year, when you started believing that your life has been differently touched. Now, look into the camera and share with the viewers.
So, our dear viewers, my name is Mukisa Elisha. First of all, I want to thank God that I am now born again. Just to take you back, to give you a brief background of who I am and a small history of myself.
Yes.
I I am apparently 26 years old. I grew up in a Catholic-based family with a single mother and four girls, one boy.
Where do you hail from? Which
I
part of Uganda?
I grew up in Entebbe, Abaita Ababiri, where my family is, and yeah, I started my journey in school like any other child. I went to my primary. I was at SOS primary schools. Then I finished my primary. I joined O level at Mengo Senior Secondary School. Yes. So along my journey in Mengo SS, that was my Form 1. I happened to meet a student who had been there.
Yes.
I think in his either Form 2 or Form 3, I'm not so certain. And we became friends. Why? Because he had a lot of influence in school. He used to live a luxury life, and along the way, this friend invites me to attend uh, a certain activity of an NGO. Little did it come to my attention or to my knowledge that there was something fishy about the invitation that was being offered to me.
Was it in the school, inside the school, or outside the school?
No, the invitation was outside the school, but then the person that was inviting me was within the school. Like I said, it was one of the students that I had gotten in the school already. So I honored the invitation because the card or the coupon that was being offered to me had clearly indicated that there was a transport refund of 500,000, and then the coupon indicated
500,000
as
shilling?
a transport, yeah, Ugandan shillings as a transport refund.
Yes.
And then there was an indication that there was accommodation of both breakfast and lunch. And basically the thing was they were trying to do activities of human rights. So I was eager to know what was this organization that was doing activities of sensitizing people on human rights, children on human rights?
Yes.
But then they were offering an amount of 500,000. That really triggered me. But then my best interest was in the 500,000 because
Yes.
at my age, back then,
How old were you?
by then I was 16.
16, and you were in
Yes.
which form?
I was in my form 1.
And your host, the one who was inviting you,
I
was
am
in which
not
class?
certain of how old he was, but then he was in Form 2, if I am not mistaken,
Form
because
2.
he had been in the school before.
Okay.
So me had just joined, and then he was already in the.
He had already
the
left
school.
the school.
No, he was already in the school.
Yeah.
Like he was a class far from me.
you.
So he was already in the school, so he knew the system of the school well. So I honored the invitation of this fellow student
Yes.
to attend the activity of that NGO, that organization that was doing activities of sensitizing children on human rights.
Human rights.
Because
Elisha, did he tell you some examples of human rights specifically?
no, he didn't tell me, and even the coupon only had something to do with SMAG. So I asked him what was this.
SMAG.
Yeah, the SMAG thing. He didn't explain.
What does SMAG
so.
stand for?
SMAG stands for Sexual Minority Uganda.
Sexual Minority Uganda.
Yes, Sexual Minority Uganda. Only that they try to abbreviate it with SMAG to create confusion.
Yes, yes.
So my main interest was in the money that was being portrayed on the coupon as a transport refund. So that triggered me to actually go and attend and probably come out with that money. So I honored the invitation.
So the money was attractive, 500,000.
Yeah, of course, this is very evident that so many students, so many youth out there would probably be lowered.
Had you ever earned such kind of money?
No, I had never.
Yeah. How
Yes.
did you feel when you had the sum of 500,000?
Like it was so exciting. Like why would somebody give out all this money?
Yes.
Just at the expense of attending just the activity.
So you went?
I honored the invitation. I went with the friend.
The same friend?
Yes, with the same friend because he had invited me, and of course he had invited other students within the school, and little did I know. Let me give you a small background of this. Yeah, this young gentleman or the student.
Please go ahead.
Little did I know that the person that was inviting me, the student that was inviting me, was actually an agent of this NGO, and he had been tasked that whoever he would recruit, he would get a commission. So you can imagine how how it would be so tiresome for him to ensure that he probably collects very many and brings them. So I honored the invitation.
Tiresome or attractive?
No, like it would give him efforts to look for as many.
It will motivate him to work harder.
To bring so many and
to earn the commission.
Yeah.
Did you know what percentage?
Yeah, later as I got enrolled within the program and the setting of the NGO, I later realized how much an agent would earn.
What percentage?
It was 500 still. So in case a day he would bring 5 people,
yes,
you could imagine how much money that was for him. So he would make lots
good
of
money.
good money.
Yes.
Yes, so I honored the invitation. I went, I attended at one of their shelters, very well facilitated and protected shelters. Inside well-built auditorium rooms, well facilitated with projectors and then chairs and a lot of things. So I arrived at the venue, which was in Ntinda, somewhere Ntinda Chigowa, where the shelters of this NGO are. On my arrival, I noticed that there were children there of the same age that I shared.
What age?
16, 14, 15, and 17 around.
So 14 to 17.
Yes. So, I noticed a few of these children that I knew from my school. And then, of course, others that I didn't know, because I think the place collected children from all walks of life, from
Yes.
different schools, those already in schools and those not in schools. So I I gave it a try, and I wanted to find out what was the activity all about. And the facilitators that were working for that NGO took us through things to do with human rights, and I realized, according to the theory and according to what they were teaching,
Yeah.
they were actually trying to indoctrinate their theology, and then of course their lies, that being gay is a human right. And then they were saying somebody's born gay. This is not something being indoctrinated in them. It's them.
At that time, Elisha, did you know what gay means?
And no, like I didn't know, so I was so surprised. I'm like, what's gay? And okay, like I'd grown up, but I'd heard of being gay,
Yes.
something to do with homosexuality, but then I'd never delved much into
Yes,
that topic.
homosexuality
So,
is even more difficult than gay.
yeah, so I was like,
So break it down. What from the teaching, what was it about?
the teaching was actually to make the children confident
Confident.
that being gay was okay. But then they forgot that amongst the children, there were those that had first heard that it was their first time hearing
Yes, like
homosexuality or being gay. So
you. Yeah. For you, did you have an idea?
I knew about homosexuality because as we were growing up, the church would say something about it, that having sexual relationship with a fellow man is. But then at that time, given my mindset, I didn't give it a lot of attention because it really didn't matter in my life then.
Yeah.
But then here I come, and then the facilitators are telling us it is okay to be gay. We are born gay.
Yes.
Being gay is a human right. So I'm like,
oh, it's a human right.
Yeah,
Being
like
gay is a human right.
Yeah, that it's a human right.
So that was your first human right to hear
about gay, and how it was human right to be gay. So
yes,
I'm like,
yes.
It was kind of confusing, but then I didn't give it much attention. But then as we were flowing within the teachings and then the activity, they started projecting gay porn videos.
Gay porn. What's
gay porn? These are videos where where children sleep with fellow children.
Yes, of the same sex.
Yeah, of the same sex. A male
so
child.
Porn stands for, it's a short for pornography, right?
Yeah, pornography.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and they were showing us, like I said, they have built auditorium rooms with projectors. Now these projectors help to project the porn and the pictures and everything.
So they would sit you in a classroom, sort of, in a room?
Yes, like it's an auditorium
About
room.
How many?
We were over 50.
50?
Like over 50, and I knew over like 6 of them from my school, and then the rest I didn't know them. So they were showing us gay porn videos. And then I'm like, it was my first time. Okay, I'd never watched porn before.
Yeah.
So it was so interesting, like, weren't the boys feeling pain? A lot of questions would come into my mind. Weren't the boys feeling pain, the ones they were showing us?
That's a boy to boy?
Yeah, a boy to boy.
Boys to boys?
Boys to boys.
In the beds?
On beds with mattresses, and then you would see lights.
Yeah.
And then I think people who are recording these videos of the boys.
Yeah, what would they be doing?
They would be having sex, definitely.
Sex?
Yes.
But they are both boys?
Yes, they're both boys.
What kind of sex? Did you have any idea about?
Anal sex. It was anal sex.
Anal sex.
Yes. It was evident that it was anal sex. Even a child would tell that.
Yeah. Kissing each other? What do you mean?
They were kissing, and then they were, of course, having sex.
But
it
oral
was
sex.
Anal sex. Oh no, anal, not oral.
Oh, anal.
It was anal sex.
Yeah. All these were showing in the
auditorium rooms and
very clear.
Yes. And
How did you feel?
Like I was so surprised and shocked because it was the first time I was watching gay porn,
Yeah.
and this specifically to do with children of the same age bracket
Yeah.
at back then.
Yes.
So I'm like, weren't they feeling pain? Like I thought that place is painful to be penetrated through. Then, of course, along the study, there were so many questions.
Yes.
Whose questions, I mean, whose answers I didn't have at that time. So,
Okay. How about to take us through experience you had with your fellow, the 50, you are 50, you are all
yes,
seated in the class
there are
like this.
those,
Yeah.
those that were there for some time. So I think they had gotten used.
Yes.
And and then there were those that whose time, I mean, whose experience was first time experience.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they could have had the same questions
Yes.
coming through.
So
as
it was
we were
like watching a film.
Yeah, it was like watching a
So
film.
would they cheer you in the class where they are cheering and, you know?
Not really, but it was just watching, and then after watching,
Yes, go on.
we would of course go for breaks where we would take breakfast and come back, still watch several porn videos. Then they would ask, "What have you learned?" But of course, many of us would not even say anything that we've either learned anything, or
Yes.
we would just keep silent because, like I said, it was so shocking.
Yes.
And then the questions that would come in as we were watching that porn videos were like, weren't the children experiencing pain? So eventually, at the end of it all, at the end of that activity, the first time I attended, I signed for my 500,000.
Yes.
Then I was asked to come the next day because the program would run from Monday to a Friday.
So you got the cash of 500,000
Yes.
the first time.
And I was so happy.
Yes.
So I think the next day I had to cancel quite a number of my studies.
Yes. You cancelled.
Yeah, because I wanted to attend.
Yeah.
And get more 500.
Yes.
But of course, even when I would go back, I would find other children there.
Okay, so
Meaning many of them would cancel their studies
Yes.
and come to earn the 500.
Okay. So you came a second day.
I came a second day, I came another day, and it became a part of me
Okay.
that I would fix time and go and attend, probably to earn the what.
So how many times
money.
did you attend the first time?
I remember in the first week,
Yes.
I attended 3 times.
3 times in
Yes,
a week.
3 times.
So 3 times 500, you got 1.5.
Yes.
How
And
did
I
you-
was so happy. I
Yes.
remember I went and did some shopping. I bought clothes.
Yes.
You know, at that time, the only thing you think about is clothes.
Yeah.
Probably a nice phone. And
You bought your phone.
yeah, I bought a phone. I bought clothes. I bought
smartphone.
shoes. Yeah, of course.
Smartphone.
By then, I was holding a Samsung. 2014, that was Samsung Note 3. I'm not going to forget.
Yes.
It was the first phone that I once held at that time, Note 3. And then, of course, clothes, shoes. So
Yes.
it really gave me appetite to go back more and more and
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Because you were earning good money at the expense of just watching.
Just watching,
Just
yes.
watching and
And then having tea and lunch.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then eventually, I later realized that this doctrine had, I mean, these videos had an impact on my mindset.
Yes.
Because the more I would watch them, the more when I leave and I'm probably at home, would meditate upon how would a boy
Yes.
sleep with a fellow boy and probably do such acts. Weren't they painful? So I would give it
Yeah.
a thought all the time, and I was like, isn't it painful? Eventually, as I kept coming for the activities, because my interest was in the money, and
Yes.
I'm sure most of the boys that used to attend,
It was money.
it was money. So
And at that time, were they in any way implying or trying to persuade you to get involved immediately?
No,
or just
no.
watching. the
Just
pictures?
watching.
Just watching.
Like I said, it has a mental impact or psychological impact that
Yes.
it plays on one's mindset. Just to watch gay porn,
Yes.
you know, you keep meditating, you keep thinking, you keep getting questions. So at the first time, they don't persuade you to probably act in it, or
Yes.
so eventually I kept coming for as many activities as possible, and I
Yes.
would get my money.
Yeah.
So it reached a time where we were asked that whoever amongst us wanted to participate in recording that
Recording.
recording
Yes.
or filming those porn videos,
Yes.
we would get, at each video we would shoot, we would get 5 million shillings. So I'm like, wow.
Oh, just a minute. Before you are getting just a transport refund of 500,000 to watch,
Just to watch.
and you watch for the time. But now stage 2 was now you can get involved into filming, you know.
Into filming, and then there was a lot of money that
In
came
other words,
with
you'll
that
be
package.
you'll now be more involved
Yes.
at a price of 1 point.
No, it was 5
5 million
million
shillings.
shillings.
Okay, so this message was given to you,
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are like,
like going to another class.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
After how long? After how long did
that is after 6 months.
After 6 months of
Yes.
watching the
watching,
videos
and then you get your
and
transport
earning
refund.
500,000 shillings.
Yes.
Now you go to the next level.
Where
Filming.
you're supposed to participate in now recording. And
Yes.
so I gave it a try. Okay, at first I was like, isn't it so painful? So they took us through the rules and procedures of
Yeah.
recording.
Oh, there are rules and procedures.
Yes, like at the day period to the recording, you're not supposed to take food. That specific foods you're not supposed to take.
Like
Hard food.
hard foods.
Yes, to help in the
Matoke,
digestion.
potatoes.
You're not supposed to take. In fact, we were ideally advised to take things like just porridge, and then soft drinks.
Yes.
Things like that.
Okay.
So that by the time the date of recording, your system is cleared. And
what
then,
was the purpose of that from the theoretical point of view? What was
of course, they explained to us that while you're having that anal sex,
Yes.
when you take hard foods, it is very easy for the recording not to come out well, because of course there will be that.
Yes. Okay.
So, of course, like I said, they took us through several rules and the effects of recording.
Yes.
One of the things I said was the rules to do with food, what specific food to take and what not to take.
Yes.
And then the other rule was how you're supposed to do the cleaning up of that place, the anal system.
Yes.
There was what they meant. There's a term to do with a term called douching. Douching is the cleaning of the anal system.
Douching.
Yes.
Yes.
They have bowels with tubes or kind of pipes, very small, that they push through the anal system. And then these bowels have something to do with the button. This button pushes the water through the tubes. The water goes through the tube, it goes and cleans the anal system, so that the shooting of the video is a bit clean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So, and of course other rules and other rules and other rules. So
Yes.
eventually I gave it a try because my main interests were in the money.
So now you are ready.
Offered.
You
Yes,
are
I
ready.
was ready because
You are
I'd
ready.
watched the porn for a
Yes.
long time.
The theory you had understood.
Yeah, so I
It's
gave
like
it a
here you are doing some practice and it's time for going to the Olympics.
yeah.
Yes.
So I gave it a try,
Uh-huh.
and of course the first day.
Now, Elisha,
Yes.
we are going for a commercial break. And when we return, that's where you will begin from.
Okay.
Welcome from the break. You are watching Transformed Lives program from the Church of Uganda Family Television in Church House, Kampala, the Power of Africa. By the time we came to the break, Elisha, Mukisa, you are sharing with us the experience you went through with SMAG. Please continue sharing with our viewers.
Like I said, I gave it a try. After we, with other children, we had been requested to participate in producing or the production of these porn videos at a fee of 5 million Ugandan shillings. So I
Yes.
gave it a try. But then my first experience, when I gave it a try, it came along with bleeding.
Before you come to that, Elisha, what kind of tribe? You are one boy,
Shooting
and
with another
you
boy.
had many boys in your class.
Yes.
Now, did you now pair up, or would you come with your own? Or how was it arranged?
No, they would come out with a shift and say, Elisha, since you have agreed.
Yes.
By the way, to take you back is before you agree to participate in the shooting.
In the shooting.
You're made to sign what they call a consentment form. But
Okay.
then I'm sure it is invalid for a child to sign such a consentment form because of their understanding,
Yes.
which is illegal within the confines of the law. So
But for purposes of this activity,
yes,
you signed.
you sign.
Yeah.
So signing is giving them consent
Yes.
to take over your recording of your videos and nudity, and then make a program. So they come up with a shift
Yeah.
where they say, now Elisha and Michael,
Yes.
you're coming in at 10.
Yes. That's your classmate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they pair you with whoever
You
they
pair up.
feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
You actually, you're not even notified that you're going to have you're going to pair up with Michael. You only come and the shift says Elisha and Michael at 10.
Yes.
So you even don't know who Michael is.
You don't know.
You don't know. You've probably met in the auditorium rooms
Yes.
where
Yeah.
the showcasing of the videos take place, and probably you've not even shared with that Michael person. So
Yes.
so eventually I gave it a try that day.
Yeah.
With a person that I had been paired to shoot with.
Yes. Did you know him?
I didn't know him.
You didn't know him.
I didn't know him.
Okay.
I only got to know him that day.
Yes.
Because my interest, like I said, was the money.
Yeah.
So I gave it
Okay.
a try.
Yeah. But before you go into action, you introduced each other, you see each other.
Yeah, like you're given that time. Hi, I'm so and so. Hi,
Yeah.
I'm so and so. I'm Michael.
And
so,
you have no liberty to withdraw.
No,
it's
you
done.
can't, because you already signed a
You have already signed.
consentment form,
Okay.
agreeing to
Yeah.
do the shooting.
Okay,
So
and you have already planned for the money.
yes. So within the shelter homes or shelters, the facilities where the recordings take place,
Yes.
there are specific rooms where you first take shower, you do the douching, like I explained, the
Okay.
cleaning up,
Yes.
and then what surprised me was there was no pre-tests done. But to take you back, as we were doing the theory part
Yeah.
of the teachings and everything, they would tell us that when you do anal sex, you don't get HIV.
Yeah.
So that already shrank into my mind that, okay, I'm on the right track, because we were taught that when you do anal sex, you don't get HIV.
Yes. How about other infections?
They told us that anal sex is one of the practices that are safe.
Very safe.
Very safe.
Yeah.
So they never showed us the other side of that anal sex
Yes.
practice. So I already knew it in my mind that it was safe. So I agreed. After all, we were taught that it was safe.
It was
So
very safe.
I agreed to do the shooting and probably get my money. So we were, like I said, within the shelter settings, that those specific
What
rooms
do you
where
mean shelter? What kind of shelter? is it?
shelter in the context of being gay, or in that gay LGBT community.
Yes.
These are safe spaces where gay recordings happen.
Are done.
Yes.
So it's like a safe house.
Yes, where they do all their kind of nasty things in. So
Yeah.
they're called shelters in the gay context. Yeah, so
But they are normal houses.
they're normal houses, but to them, I don't know why they call it shelters.
It is their
Like I
term.
said, in their gay context or their gay terms, they are referred to as shelters. So within the shelter settings, there are specific rooms or
Yeah.
specific
Chambers.
kind of chambers where you do the cleaning from. From cleaning, you undress yourself. And then from there is when you go to the final rooms,
Yeah.
where there are already nice these lights,
Yeah, nice.
bright lights, and
Yeah.
then the cameras, and then the beds where they
Okay.
do the recordings from.
It's like a studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you ask to use lubricant oils to soften the process of the anal sex.
Yes.
So of course, like before, during the theory, we were taught how to use these lubricant oils and everything, and what effect, I mean, what advantage did they have
Yeah.
in recording. Of course, it was to make the process easier and then soften the process of penetration.
Yes.
So I agreed, we did the recording, just to be brief.
Yeah.
But then as we were recording, I was feeling a lot of pain. One, two,
Yeah.
uh, uh, I started bleeding.
Immediately?
Yes, I started bleeding because I had never been penetrated through, so this was the first time.
So you are the one who has been penetrated.
Yes, because
And about the other one, I mean,
we have roles.
How was it?
There are roles there are specific roles that people play.
Yes, break that up.
Role number one is being top, being bottom, being versatile. Now, being top is the person,
bottom, versatile.
yeah, is the person that uses. Being bottom is the person that they use.
Yes.
Being versatile is a person that does both roles. They can either be top,
Yeah.
they can either be versatile. I mean, bottom.
Yeah.
So
What was yours?
mine, I agreed to take the role of being bottom. You know.
Yeah.
So I agreed to be used, and then the person that used the person that was the top, that played the top role.
Yeah.
I think I couldn't manage the size of their private parts, so probably in the way of penetrating, of course there were tissues that tore.
Yeah.
So I bleed that day. And I'm sure that the shooting didn't come out well because it had blood, so it was cancelled.
Yes.
I was taken to hospital for treatment, and the treatment was catered for. The hospital bills were catered for by the.
But did you get your cash, the 5 million?
Yeah, I got the money. I got the money.
Immediately, or?
Yes, because when there was bleeding, they said no, we need to stop.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to come out well since there is blood. So.
But you got your cash.
I got the money. They even catered for the hospital bills where I got the treatment. Then eventually I healed.
After how long?
I healed, I think, in a week's time or 2 weeks' time. I'd healed because there was sufficient treatment to enable the healing process take place so fast. So I healed. And then I came back.
Yeah.
For other recordings, so I did as many recordings as possible, and I would get my money.
Okay.
Yes. So
for how long? Because we have to move faster, but after healing, you went back and you recorded a number of them.
Yes,
and each time you are getting 5 million.
5 million. It reached a time, within the LGBT community, there are what they call hierarchies.
Yes.
So according to your participation, you upgraded from a different rank to another rank.
Yes.
Now, people may not understand what we mean by ranks within the LGBT community.
Yes.
Now, for example, there are people who normally are sent to attend conferences abroad.
Yes.
Kind of functions abroad within the LGBT community. Those are people of high ranking,
Where were you ranked?
I wasn't at a high ranking level, but then I was given at least a specific kind of level because I have traveled.
Yes.
At the expense of these people paying.
Okay.
My journeys.
Where have you traveled?
I've been to Canada. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Nairobi. So.
America?
No, I've not been to America.
Yes.
So I was promoted because of the long time I had been participating with these people. So I'd been promoted. They used to facilitate my journeys.
Yes.
Even where I used to stay, they used to pay the rent and
Okay.
pay all those bills that come along with rent. And so basically, I would say that I used to enjoy the life. I had everything. I used to live a luxury life. I
You were
used to have
loaded.
all the money that
You
I
were heavily
needed.
loaded.
So eventually, in the course of my studying, I even dropped.
You dropped out of
Yeah,
school.
out of school. Like I was studying to get money, and here I am already having the money that I need.
So you
So
stopped after what level?
in my form 4 is when
Form
I
4. You
stopped.
finished your O level?
Yes, and I
And you
stopped there
concentrated on this homo
on
thing.
money and traveling because there was no way even I would concentrate on studies while I was traveling
Yes.
abroad here and there. So eventually I stopped the studying and then focused on the promoting. And then of course, because at a time, like I said, according to the ranks, you're mandated to, as an agent of theirs,
Yes.
to bring
More customers.
yes. So you would go and probably bring in a lot of children so
Yes.
that you get a commission. And
Oh, you started getting commission.
yes, because like I said, as an agent, whoever child you would recruit or you would bring in,
Yes.
you would get a commission out
Okay.
of them. So
Okay.
I used to I used to bring so many of my friends, and I'm sure I converted many of them.
Yes. And I guess an estimate
More than 20.
more than 20.
Yes, and I would get the commission, and probably I was living a good life. A good life of no doubt, a good life where I used not to regret. And
Yes.
but then there was a stage where I reached and I felt so sick after a number of years
Yes.
that I'd worked with these people.
Yeah.
I reached a time where I was sick. I would feel sickly in the late evenings, and of course, So I decided to do a medical checkup
Yes.
and ascertain what exactly was going on, because I would run malaria tests, and then the doctors would say, the results would say everything was negative. So I decided to do a comprehensive medical test to ascertain what I was exactly suffering from.
Yeah. What are your main symptoms?
Like I would be shivering in the evenings, and like as if I had malaria. I would feel so cold and wanted to kind of keep myself warm in the house, in the blanket. But then when I would do tests of malaria, they would come out negative. So
Yes.
the doctor advised that we would do a comprehensive test called ELISA. ELISA, I think, in a medical
Yes.
perspective. I'm not a medic, but it's a general test that covers other tests. So we ran the test, and then the test came out with so many, I don't know how to say it, so many indications that
Yes, indicators.
that there was something not right.
Yeah, with your body.
Yeah, with my body. So the doctor advised that I be referred to a counselor who would interpret the results.
Yes.
So I went, I met a counselor. So the counselor started advising me, here and there. So these are long-time illnesses that will
Yes.
require you to adhere to medication. And so, of course, that broke my heart.
Yeah.
I told the counselor to excuse me, and probably I would get back to them later. From there, I remember I went back to where I was staying. I locked myself in the room.
Yes.
I don't remember having a meal that day because, like, my mind was so, broken, and then with the results that had come out of the test.
Yes.
So I gave myself, I think, a month. I was no longer on social media. I did away with my phones. I would keep myself in the room the whole month.
Yes.
I would only move out in the nights to go and get something to eat and come back. I remember I was even working, so I dropped working, and it was all a mess in my life. That
was
is
a
all
mess.
I
Yes.
could say. So for a full month, I was in my room, and I had gotten heartbroken. I had lost hope.
Yes.
Referring to the results that had come out of that test we had taken. So it was still, I think, this year 2022 in February. I don't remember that time. Okay,
Yeah.
the time I do, it was around in the night, at around 10 in the night p.m.
Yes.
But then I'm not so certain of what exact date. I mean, the specific day.
Yeah.
But then I remember that time it was in the night. As I was sleeping, through my phone, I decided to switch on one of the radio stations.
Yes.
And my phone landed me to Top Radio, something like Top Radio.
Top Radio.
Where I had one of the pastors praying that that homosexual, fire, 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 something like that. So I'm like, why did I tune onto this radio station and they're talking about things to do with homosexuality? Were they referring to me? So
yes,
I gave it a try and listened. I listened to the sermon, the lengthy sermon, and it was something to do with homosexuality, and then praying that probably they convert to reforming and living that kind of lifestyle.
Yes, yes.
I kept listening and listening and listening until the program ended late in the night. So I think that was the point where I decided to change. That was my turning point.
You decided to change. That was your turning point.
Yes. And then at the end of the sermon, the pastor asked if there is anybody out there that wanted to confess Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Please repeat after these words. So whatever word you would say, that say your name, so I'd say my names. Say that you've accepted to follow Jesus Christ, so I would say all those, those words of confession.
Yes, it's a prayer, yes.
Yeah. So eventually I took up Jesus Christ as my Lord and personal Savior.
Praise God.
However, I did not immediately locate a church where I would probably belong to, because I knew of so many churches that were involved in such activities. Yes. So I had doubt in the churches. But then I agreed to myself that I would probably congregate through the radio. Yeah, so I think that was my turning point, basically.
That was your turning point?
Yes. The day I took salvation through a radio on my phone.
Yes.
And then the prayer, the confession. Yeah.
Yes.
Basically, that.
So
to me, that was my turning point.
Now you believe you are born again?
Yes.
You have professed Jesus Christ?
Exactly.
Now, Elisha, tell us, and tell the audience over there, how do you feel after this big decision to move away from the practice of homosexuality and gayism to become a born-again Christian? How do you feel in your heart? To
take you back, as I was confessing, after the confession part of that prayer,
yes,
I felt relieved.
You felt relieved?
As if I had a burden of denial of the results that came out of the tests we ran. So I felt relieved.
Yes.
I'm like, I had a good breath from that day, and then I'm like, okay, so I would get voices that would tell me, this has been your point of transformation.
Yes.
But then your calling now is to make awareness and help others reform from that lifestyle.
Yes.
So I'm like, hey, how am I going to do it? These people are powerful. So I would shun away from that voice, but it would keep coming back
again
to
and
me.
Again.
Yes, so eventually, after some time, I decided, because the voice would keep coming back.
Yes.
I decided to move out of the house, go to a police station, and institute criminal cases against the directors of this of this organization
called SMAG.
Yes, called SMAG.
Yes.
Inform police of what was going on. I tasked them and asked them to investigate. Of course, they ran a monthly investigation and came up with their own investigations.
Yes.
But then along the way of investigating, I must clearly come on record that police was compromised.
Yes.
And this, of course, saw other security agencies and other government institutions intervene in this subject matter after I had written to them and alerted them on what was going on,
Yes.
how this NGO was targeting children in schools and probably recruiting them into recording porn videos. And so I want to come on record saying that there were so many interventions
Yes.
of different government institutions that were concerned with my criminal cases that I had preferred against the directors and
Yes.
the NGO that was doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure so many boys out there had my story, had the criminal proceedings that I had brought or instituted against the directors. So many of them would contact me and they're like, hey, how have you done it? How is your security? We would also want to come out and support you because we're also tired. But then our fear is the security. So how are you maintaining it?
Yes.
How are you maintaining your sustainability? How are you living apparently? Because I'm sure you no longer get money from the NGO. So we're wondering if we want to live, how best would we be helped? So of course along the way all that came in. I would get calls from some of the boys within that community that would want to leave.
Yes.
But then they were looking at a how would I phrase it? They were looking at my security, how was I maintaining the security, and of course other things that come along with instituting criminal proceedings against
the whole
organization and whole community of LGBT, something to do with that. So
yes,
I want to thank God that what He has started, according to the scriptures, He says He fulfills.
He fulfills.
Yes.
Yeah.
So along the criminal proceedings and along the awareness that I've been doing for quite a number of these few months, God has been there. He has sustained me. He has provided the platforms where we are trying to do awareness.
Yes.
And of course facilitated me generally. God has facilitated me. He has seen me through these months with security. I am not guarded by armed men, but at least the heavens have provided security for me, and I am safe.
You are safe.
And I'm still alive,
yeah.
And I'm continuing with the awareness.
And you have no fear in your heart whatsoever.
I do not have fear.
And you are feeling happy.
Yes, and I'm happy doing God's work.
Yes.
Because like I said, I would get voices that would ask me to, since it was a turning point for me after I'd taken salvation, that I would help raise awareness and help bring out more of the children that had been converted to being homosexuals or gay. Yes. My testimony and then my awareness would help them probably live. Yes, and come back to the right path.
And you have no fear, you have no regrets about the money.
I do not have regret.
Yes.
In fact, I had gotten a lot of money out of these people, but to be point blank, I had never done anything constructive out of that money.
Yes.
It was about living a luxury life of buying good clothes, moving in Uber, Uber cars, and probably traveling. But then nothing constructive.
You didn't buy a car for yourself?
I didn't.
You didn't.
You'd be in Serena, you'd have lunch in hotels and where, but you'd never do anything constructive out of that money. So when I took salvation, like I said, I got relieved. And because I had a chance of that I had everything I wanted in my life. But then there was something that was missing. I think this was the godly aspect.
So now you have started a campaign, an advocacy against this homosexuality issues.
Yes.
What steps have you taken with some of the government institutions, briefly, as we conclude this program?
I have written.
And what would you want government of Uganda, relevant institution, to do for you? What is your appeal?
Definitely, I would say that I have written to the Director of Public Prosecutions
Yes.
to intervene in the matter where minors are being exploited, sexually exploited,
Yes.
recruited into filming gay porn videos, and she personally took up this matter. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Her Lordship, Justice Jane Francis Abodo. We actually met physically in her office, and then she wrote a letter which I'll share with you, directing police to forward those criminal files to her office for revision and probably see how best she could take up the matter. I've also written to the IGP,
Yes.
the Inspector General of Police, and say, look here, there's an NGO operating illegally. It's recruiting children from schools into homosexuality. What has your office done about it? And I am sure
about SMAG.
Yeah, about SMAG.
Yes.
I'm sure the IGP immediately wrote, because by virtue of fact that I have a response letter from his office, directing the CID department to take up the investigation and probably give him a response of what they will have gathered in their investigation. I also petitioned the NGO Bureau that is mandated in on regulating these NGOs. Luckily enough, on the 5th day of August, the NGO Bureau came out officially and closed down sexual minorities. It halted its operations and said
operations of SMAG.
Yes, the operations of
halted.
SMAG. They were halted, closed down with immediate effect, and a public statement was done.
Yes.
Saying public take notice that these people were operating illegally. So I think those are some of the achievements.
Yes, that's a
so
great
far
achievement.
I have gotten. I've also involved the Minister for Children, who of recent conducted a meeting to do with the illegal operations of Sexual Minority Uganda. Whose activities had come to our attention that they were recruiting children.
How do you relate this whole game of things with the European Union decision to suspend the oil and the gas pipeline? Because it has been mentioned that it was because of abuse of human rights by Uganda.
Yes.
Has this any connection with the SMAG?
It really does, and I was coming to that point.
Yes.
Where when the closure of SMAG happened, the administrators of SMAG went to the EU Parliament.
Yes.
I'll avail our viewers the proof, the pictures, and a notice of what was being discussed in the EU Parliament.
Yes.
And one of the agendas, or one of the subject matters on that paper order, was the closure of Sexual Minorities Uganda in Uganda.
Wow.
And really? A full discussion was held on the closure of Sexual Minority Uganda in Uganda. And two of the resolutions were made. One was to put stringent measures on Uganda. Probably the measures would force Uganda to reopen SMAG, so that EU would liaise with Total Engines, that company Energy, of Total, to Total probably go on with the oil
and the gas project.
Yes.
Yeah, oil pipe.
So I'm sure very many out there don't know why EU had to come in. I have proof of the pictures where the directors appeared on behalf of Uganda in the EU Parliament.
In the EU Parliament.
Yes.
Yes.
And one of the matters that came on as the subject matter on the order paper of the EU was the closure of Sexual Minorities Uganda. So people should not have any doubt why EU at this stage where SMAG was closed down, is intervening in the progress of Uganda's oil
industry.
So that is mainly the reason why EU has come in, because SMAG went to these directors of SMAG went to the EU Parliament and said, look, you need to push and probably put pressure on Uganda so that they can reopen us. Though people are trying to run away from the facts, but we have enough proof.
Well, at that point, we come to the end of Transformed Lives program, coming from Church of Uganda Family Television, Church House in Uganda, Kampala, Uganda, the Power of Africa. In the studio, we had Elisha Mukisa, whose life has been transformed from being a gay, from being a homosexual, to a born-again Christian, and right now has started a very vigorous campaign against homosexuality in Uganda. Transform Lives program usually broadcasts every Sunday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. and is repeated every Wednesday from 8 to 9. And you are invited to tune in. Until next time, God bless you. Good viewing. God bless you.